Okay, folks, this is my look at last week's bulletin.
The new recycling plants could power thousands of Hampshire homes, but not everyone's happy about the plans. Horrendous.
Did we clip that a little bit? You've got to be really tight. That's our first headline. It's our first piece of SOT. It's got to be really, really snappy.
It's absolutely horrendous. Putting the brakes on drink driving, hundreds arrested in police crackdown.
The devastation it causes is shocking and really just totally unacceptable.
We've had two really, really strong grabs. Excellent length, perfect illustration of what we're trying to do. Really well done.
And with the general election just weeks away, the Green Party come out fighting.
We could literally break politics wide open.
It's great. That's these three grabs have been fantastic. We've got some key players giving us our sound bites. Really, really good start. And overall, the bulletin is good. What I would say is you're missing out on content. They're bits. There are good ideas here, and we've got to flesh them out to make them a really good. Really good stories, and for us to make a really good bulletin. But I've been really impressed with some of the voices, some of the pieces to camera. Some of the ideas are good. We just got to work on how we tell those stories. Right, let's get on with the rest of the bulletin.
Processing plants in Marchville, Southampton could create 40 new jobs and power more than 12,000 homes. But some residents are concerned about the effect on their community.
Good start, Lynn. This is good. Good balance to the story. You've said what's going to happen, you said what might happen, and you've given the alternative point of view. You've given the other side of the story in this link.
Our environment correspondent, Holly Broughton, has the details.
It may not look like much, but this site in Southampton could become a political battlefield.
It is horrendous. It is absolutely horrendous. We just get dumped on in Marchwood and we just can't, the road infrastructure is impossible.
But others would say the plant is necessary as it would recycle food waste into energy.
Right, what you've done here, Holly, it's nice to try this sequence, but it's jump cut sequence. As you can see, you've gone, hang on, let's just go back a bit. You've got three shots here that go together, but you can't put them one after another. It's not a proper sequence because they jump. You need to change the angle of where you are shooting to give the idea that this is one fluid incident of somebody making a cup of tea, but not the fact that you've got the same shots here. So you need different angles of where you're doing it. You'll see.
Absolutely horrendous. We just get dumped on in Marchwood and we just can't, the road infrastructure is impossible.
But others would say the plant is necessary as it would...
So that's fine, but then suddenly the tea bag and the hand has disappeared, and then you've got the hot water being poured
into energy.
And then suddenly you've gone in tighter and you've got the tea in there. Okay, it doesn't work as a sequence. It would have done if you'd had, as I say, different angles and worked out that this kettle has to get out of shot, the hands have to get out of shot and then come into shot. So that is where the difficulty lies. But a good idea to do it, it just hasn't been perfected.
There'll be jobs involved, which is always...
This is good framing, perfect framing. Remember your rule of thirds, so he is perfectly positioned and this is his line of sight. So good interview.
People who live in the area understand the noise, disturbance and congestion that these problems cause.
Landowners Barkerman Estates has said they want to work with the local community to develop a facility that has a positive impact on the local community and economy.
That's fine. I just wonder if underneath this is all very white and that you could have had some colour or something just to make that graphic more interesting.
Public exhibition will be held for residents in February. The plans will be submitted early spring. Holly Broughton, Winchester News Online.
Holly, I think you can stay there. You know, you look good enough on camera. You don't need to walk off. Just stay there. Let's just freeze it at the end. Just stay it and don't move off. I think that would be fine. So you've got both. You've got balance from people for and against. maybe a little bit more explanation about what would happen and the implications of what would happen, and some of the numbers, some of the detail is missing from this piece. But otherwise, well done. It's a really good community issue, so it's a very good local story.
Winchester's biggest housing development for 40 years has just got bigger. The original...
That's a great opening line. That's really, really good. That's caught my ear and eye immediately.
Was for 2,000 new homes, but the council now wants to add hundreds more to the development. Josh Behrens has this report.
I totally understand that story now, okay? We've got the biggest site around, and we had 2,000 homes, and now we've got hundreds more that might be coming. So, you know, well linked, well explained.
The controversial Barton Farm housing development may be getting even bigger.
Not sure that's a great shot as your opening one there, Josh. I think, you know, maybe something round, you know, even a tight round here, or seeing it emptying into the bin. There's a bit of this. So this is the centre of your picture. So this is the focus of everyone's eye, and actually there isn't anything there. There's more over here, and there's probably more over here. So just think about your opening shot. It should be really engaging and dragging your viewer in.
The City Council is debating a plan to add up to 500 extra homes, according to the local planning watchdog, the Winchester Trust, who lobbied the council for this enlargement.
So look, the succession of shots, all a little bit quick and don't necessarily join together, those shots. So just think about the way you are compiling them.
Where are they going to put these affordable homes?
And this is just a bugbear. I don't quite understand why this hyphen is here. You used it in both of them. Just get rid of it and centre it down so that we've got it there, so that it's all lined up.
As we have suggested, is Barton Farm, which, if the densities were increased, you could provide a lot more housing, more densely achieved. And
that cutaway doesn't quite work either, unless you sort of go down to where his folder was, so we don't see him, because he's for some reason you've got him sideways and in profile, and more or less the same size shot as this. So it doesn't quite work, but it might have worked if you'd gone down and looked at the folder, which was down here.
Really lower the cost sufficiently to provide.
The council feels that extra homes won't make much difference.
Not quite sure what happened there, whether this is just a slip in the way it's been compressed and uploaded, or in fact that was edited badly.
Housing agencies are questioning the government. Ward members in the area where Barton Farm will have the biggest impact may...
Be careful with your colours. I mean, again, we've got this with this hyphen here, and it needs to be aligned. But he looks a little bit blue, so I'm not quite sure. Look, your whites are a bit blue, so be careful of your colours and make sure you white balance.
Reservations about higher numbers, but if you've got 2,000 houses coming, if we were to deliver another 300 or 400 homes, I'm not sure how you could easily quantify the impact of those additional homes.
The councils are split on this rise in extra homes.
We should be looking at how we use space inside the town, such as car parks.
We've interviewed Martin Todd so many times that you need a shot of. We'd be able to get a freeze frame of Martin Todd and put him in somewhere so that we can see him. And look at this, lid dem. What is a lid dem? So there's a mistake there, and you don't need speaking. So it's just Councillor Martin Todd, Lib Dem. All right, St Paul Ward. Is it St Paul's Ward or St Paul Ward? So check this. This is not very nice at all.
Whether we should be building on those before we start looking at building.
And I think when you go over to these other shots, you can get rid of it because we know who he is.
The site construction is set to take place in the next few days. The first homes are expected in the market by summer. What's plans for new and specified homes will be debated further with the City Council. Josh Brown.
Again, Josh, you need to slow down your voiceover. It's very difficult to hear what you're saying there. The quality of the sound is not very good on that piece to camera. And I think you've got so many interesting things to say, and I really like your style, but we've got to slow down your voice and your voiceover. Otherwise, people just won't understand all the good work that you are writing.
Winchester News Online.
Police crack down on drunk drivers, but is the message getting through? It has been revealed that hundreds of drivers were arrested over Christmas after failing breath tests. Brooke Perriam has the story.
And that is a link. Basically, they're always arrested over Christmas. Of course they are. We need figures, we need numbers, we need to know whether it's up, whether it's down. I know this is coming in your piece, Brooke, but we need to headline it somehow. News is getting better, news is getting worse, whatever it might be, but we need stats to back it up.
Devastating and life-wrecking. Words used to describe the level of drink drivers in Hampshire following a record-breaking number of breath tests over the festive period. Killing is killing. That's the messaging campaign videos like this. But despite the recent crackdown, police are disappointed in just how many motorists are willing to put innocent lives at risk.
As part of a drink drive campaign in December, Hampshire police made almost 200 arrests, with the majority in Winchester and Southampton, but say too many people still persist on getting behind the wheel after drinking.
Another really good piece to camera, Brooke. I mean, you do come out with some great stuff week in, week out, and I'm very impressed. The writing is so good on this as well. So far, this is a great story. But my issue is getting those facts in, and I know you've put them there in your piece to camera, and the copper is just about to say some other stuff, but I think we need the headline of what the story is about, whether that's good news, whether the arrests are up, whether they've been able to. Is there another line that actually the manpower is down so much they've not been able to arrest as many people as they have previously? Let's find out how many they've arrested in days gone by, last year, the year before, what's the 10-year cycle, so that we can put it all into perspective.
During the crackdown, officers carried out almost 7,000 breath tests and 195 arrests.
I know, look, the bottle's lovely, but are we all drinking out of this? Could you not find a wine glass or even a beer glass to go alongside it? But good that we've got some stats at last, but it seems quite a long way down the story.
Though most were charged with an offence, 31 have been bailed and 24 will face no further action. Although the campaign saw an almost 3% drop in motorists driving after drinking alcohol, authorities say the number of drivers willing to is simply not acceptable.
Some people feel that they can do this, that they can risk.
That's really nicely done. That's a really simple technique, Brooke, just to have the voice of your interviewer coming in before you actually see them. It's a very subtle and very nice way of just softening an edit, and that's very sophisticated. You continue to show a lot of sophisticated skills in reporting, which is really good at this stage.
People's lives, it's up to them if they want to risk their own lives, but the risk of other people and the devastation it causes is shocking.
Again, really well framed. Look, think of your rule of thirds. That's draw a line there, draw a line there. Okay, he's in the perfect position. Your third, that's a third of the screen, and there's a third of the screen as well. So, yeah, really good so far.
Really just totally unacceptable.
The message so far seems to be getting through, but Hampshire Police will continue to target those putting lives in danger. Brooke Perriam, Winchester News Online.
I wonder whether you could have had some nighttime shots, Brooke. I know you've used this shot before, and most of the drink driving is at night, and I just wonder whether you could have had that. And ultimately, what we want to do is to be able to go out with the police on a night and see someone being breathalyzed. That is the major shot that is missing. So we need to build up our relationship and see if we can, get out with some coppers.
Motorbike owners are being warned after a series of thefts in Southampton. Our regional crime and community correspondent, Amy Best, reports.
Bit short on the link there, it doesn't tell me much, but I like this opening shot, and this tells a story, so well done, Amy.
It and leave it. That is the message from police as they start to crack down on bike thefts.
And that's a strong voice and a strong use of language in the opening link. That's really good in the opening line.
Hampshire Police have released
Start walking before you talk, okay? Because otherwise it looks a bit stilted and it's like, oh, I've just got to walk now that I've started talking. So try and walk first and then start talking.
Following a string of offences in the Southampton area, which is of growing concern to some locals.
I think that the police could have done more looking at the number of the bikes that have been stolen in the time frame and give more warning and it's taking too long.
Some bike owners feel that more must be done to combat these issues.
I've never really felt that my bike was safe in Southampton because it's got such a bad reputation for bike theft. So no matter how many locks, how many steering locks I put on it, there's still that threat that it's going to get taken, and I feel like it's about time that the police did something more about that.
Police are encouraging people to report any antisocial behaviour in efforts to reduce the number of bikes being stolen. Amy Best, Winchester News Online, Southampton.
You know, some of the shots are really good there, and you've got an example, but I've got no statistics. More needs to be done. What does more need to be done actually mean? It doesn't mean anything until you come up with some ideas about what should happen. And we've got some statistics about how many people have had their bikes nicked, how many bikes have been stolen. Again, is this up? Is this down? Put it into perspective. Otherwise, it's got the basis of a good idea. I really like your voice, Amy. I think you're strong and I think you write well, and well done for pixelating this, which is good, but we really need some stats. We need some substance to this story.
For the full police statement, go to our website, winol.co.uk.
And that's not bad. That's not a bad idea to do that. Why not? Let's drive more people to our website.
This week, campaigners have lost their battle to force a clampdown on Stanmore housing after a record number of students were accepted at the University of Winchester this year. Our crime and community correspondent Alice Wheatley has more.
Right, that hasn't explained the story. You've put two different stories, like Stanmore homeowners campaigning for something, and there are lots of students in, more students than ever at Winchester. Now, you've not put the two ideas together. So you're expecting somebody to know that Stanmore residents hate University of Winchester students. There are too many of them. So we need to think about that link.
This week, civic chiefs have put off plans brought about by a petition which would have forced developers to get permission before turning family homes into student digs. Leader of the petition, Amanda Chard, told us that the decision has already had implications in the community.
Well, we've already started seeing the evidence. We've had one estate agent in particular knocking doors on the estate, and also they've put a flyer through the doors of local residents.
But to say what? I don't understand what what they have been doing and what she's actually saying there. And then what you've done here, Alice, is you've returned to the same shot. I think we see this shot 3 or 4 times. So why on earth haven't we moved elsewhere? There's no pictures in this at all.
However, for students, this could be a good thing. With an already low stock of student homes, new developments are always welcome.
I think there's clearly...
Oh, look, we've got Councillor Ian Tate again. You'll find with the election coming, he is rent-a-gob, and we can get him all the time. Now, this is where the news editor has to liaise with all his or her reporters to make sure we're not doubling up on people. Look, if it's the Prime Minister, we may not mind having him twice in our bulletin. If it's Councillor Ian Tate, we definitely don't want it.
In some of those communities, particularly in Stanmore, where many residents feel that they have a hard time with houses in multiple occupation, this isn't going to help them. They're going to feel that the council has let them down. I would challenge whether that is the case, but if you can't have that argument or debate, that's how that community will feel.
Alice Wheatley, Winchester News Online, Stanmore.
Also, Alice, it's a very long grab, that very, very long sound on tape, and I think the interview is too long. And then I hope you've heard me say, don't go from your SOT, your interview, your sound on tape, to an SOQ, your standard out cue, your signing off cue. Put in an extra line before you go from one to the other. So don't just hear the end of the interviewee and then go, Angus Scott, Winchester News Online. Find another line, take it forward, or come back to the beginning of your story and link it all up and then sign off. And once again, unfortunately, we've got this shot which we've seen twice already. So there are no shots in this, and these shots are easy because you can just go and stand on a street and shoot everything. So there are not enough shots here at all.
Thousands of families don't have enough money to properly provide for their children, according to a highly influential study. Our political correspondent, Toby Cruz, has the story.
Toby, I think you're running out of time here, probably, Lynn, writing links because they're getting shorter and shorter, and this doesn't explain anything, and I'm not sure how it's going to affect our viewers. There is no regional relevance to this whatsoever.
A study by the Joseph Rowntree Foundation has suggested that almost 2 in 5 families struggle to raise their children on their current income.
Benefits haven't kept up with the cost of living, which means that lots and lots of households have lost out in that sense. They're not being supported in the way that they were a few years ago.
The Hampshire County Council said that they are in the midst of financial austerity and that they are maintaining essential services within reduced means. They may be doing all they can, but what they can may not be enough. Toby Cruz, Winchester News Online, Winchester.
Look, Toby, you've got charisma. It's a nice piece of camera, although it looks very soft on my screen, and I don't know if that is the case. But actually, you've said absolutely nothing in this story whatsoever. You've got a great voice. It works well, and your look is good on camera, but there are no statistics, there's no example, there's no regionalisation of this. There is no basis for this story. It is a complete puff and absolutely nothing there. So I would have spiked this story straight away because there is nothing to it.
Roadworks on busy routes into Winchester are causing delays for commuters. Our transport correspondent Olivia Martin has this.
Right, okay, I think we need to expand on this. Again, we've just gone for one line link, which is another pet hate of mine, because you have not explained the story enough.
Taillights and traffic jams. A sight familiar to many commuters into Winchester. Travel time is almost doubling for some people because of ongoing roadworks in and around the city.
Right, just going back to this one, Olivia, it's a really nice, strong start, but we've got one road in it, and that's the M1. Where I need to see where the Romsey Road goes, where all these goes, where's the Stockbridge Road goes, Stony Lane. Nice to have these bits. What's the differential? Okay, we've got slight delays, severe delays. Okay, but that needs to be highlighted so that you can see. Otherwise, I'm thinking severe delays is like a road because it's in the same font and the same size as everything else. So we need some roads. We just need to adapt this graphic.
Because of ongoing roadworks in and around the city.
The most recent major issue is here, between Stockbridge Road and Shelbolton Avenue, where the tarmac had to be dug out because of a leak. This route already endures traffic issues most weekday mornings, causing delays and aggravation for some commuters.
That's a really good piece to camera. You look great. You've got a strong voice. You've told us a story very well. The only thing I'd say is from now, it'd be great if whoever's doing the camera, unless it's not you on your own, obviously, they just pan off and then we can see Chilbolton Avenue and we can see where the difficulty is. Then that would help it.
It becomes very aggravating having to sit in the traffic.
It's a good sequence of somebody getting in their car. I like it, well done.
Constantly, there's no way around it really. It's just a case of I have to leave a lot earlier than I usually would do.
Southern Water is responsible for some of the roadworks taking place in Winchester. It has told Winol that it was planning to complete the roadworks as soon as possible and would prioritise work that causes severe disruption. The congestion in this area is somewhat easing.
Somewhat easing? It's not very conversational. It's easing somewhat, but even using the word is somewhat is a little bit too laboured. So just try and find more colloquial, modern day language.
Many other commuters, there won't be hope for a simpler journey until mid to late February.
That's good, very good to throw it forward and so that we give a resolution to this story of when it will be. My issue is, where are the roadworks? I've seen commuters, and you've obviously got up to whether it's afternoon rush hour or morning rush hour. You've got to the state where you can see that it's busy, but there don't seem to be any roadworks that you're talking about in the whole of this story.
Olivia Martin, Winchester News Online.
But again, really good voice, really clear voice and very well expressed.
Up Upham Brewery in rural Hampshire claims that its beer is so popular that it needs to increase the size of its plant by 500%. Planning permission is yet to be accepted by Southampton City Council. Henry Nixon has more.
Okay, that's better. But when you hear this link, you think this is just a puff for this brewery.
Quite simply, we've run out of space.
And why is he mic'd with his lead going all the way down there? I don't mind him starting off this piece, stick it up his jumper and then put it over the top. That looks horrible. Never, never do that, Henry.
The building that we've got can't cope with where we believe we can take the brewery, which is already 10 times bigger than we started with.
Really good shots inside there, Henry, if they're all yours. Really nice.
Behind me here is a proposed site for the new brewery.
Yeah, that doesn't say anything. That's just you getting into this piece for the sake of it. It's a shame, really, because I think just by seeing those 3 or 4 seconds, I can tell you've got real presence on television and a really good voice. You just need to come up with something decent to say rather than this is where it's going to be.
Plans submitted feature a 30-foot tall warehouse, and the council will consider its impact on local residents before making a decision. Henry Nixon, Winchester News Online, Upham.
And I was right, really. It is just a puff for the brewery. It's not really a story. What about locals who don't want it to happen? You know, where is the other side of the story? Otherwise, we just go, great brewery, we're getting bigger, and we want to build this. So it's not very balanced, this piece.
What are you afraid of, boys? That's the challenge from the...
I think you need a little glint in your eye or a little smirk when you do this one, Lynn, because that's obviously what they intend.
To David Cameron and Ed Miliband as the party tries to win a place on the televised debates. Our reporter, Ryan Hewlett, was in Westminster to hear leader of the Greens put her case across.
The Green Party have brought their fight for their place in the leaders' debate right here to the heart of Westminster.
Green Party leader Natalie Bennett said the party had doubled its membership, which she described as the Green Surge.
We could literally break politics wide open. Who knows where we're going to end up?
The Greens say that it is unfair they have been excluded from the TV leaders' debate. Bennett announced that the Green Surge means they have more party members than UKIP. The latest Ashcroft poll shows...
Just got to be careful with your voice here, Ryan, that you don't let it run away with you and you just slow it down and enunciate a little bit more. But the selection of pictures have been good so far, but your piece to camera is again saying, oh, look, I'm here in Westminster. Just make sure you add something to that piece to camera, that it has some information in it rather than the information, I'm in in Westminster. I can see that.
Given Labour neck and neck, with the Green Party just a few points behind the UKIP. Despite this, Ofcom says the Greens don't qualify for major parties.
That's a better graphic. That's, you know, it's got animation, it's got movement. Well done.
We're still considering the legal action. We're talking to some lawyers with some reassuringly expensive-looking officers.
Question still remains as to whether the party will feature in the election debates. Ryan Hewlett, Winchester News Online, Westminster.
But otherwise, you know, it's a really nice package. The only problem is, where's our angle? It's a national story. We need to relate it to what we are doing. We're not a national news service, we're a local news service, and we need the local story, the local angle. But otherwise, I could be very impressed with some of the work that you're going to do, Ryan. I think this could be great.
Now, over to our sports editor, Ross Perkins, with the sport.
Thanks.
Somebody, whoever's directing, telling me he looks a mess. He's got a tie and a suit on. He's almost combed his hair. But he's got a filthy, horrible microphone there. Where do you ever see that when you're on the telly? Except in one of our bulletins.
Leeds, on the back of 3 straight wins, had the chance to go third in the Wessex Premier League to ramp the pressure up on leaders Moneyfields. But they hosted the Lymington Town side who, unbeaten in 3, are still harbouring promotion ambitions of their own.
I think all these stats are very nice, and I know we've talked about it before, Ross, but ultimately I want a news line there. This is coming after the result. Everybody knows the result, and we need to reflect that.
Mark Betts was at the Denplan City Ground.
Winchester were hoping to give Paul Masters a belated birthday present when they hosted Leamington Town. Debutant Jamie Thorogood was able to give that present early on when he tucked in a header at the near post.
That is a really good start to the bulletin because not only did you use a really good cutaway when the goal had been scored, the words work, and this is a really good replay showing that you've got a couple of cameras. So all in all, that is a really bright start to this. Excellent.
Cadets were strong throughout the whole game, pushing down the far wing. A ball into Seaton, who played in Warren Bentley, allowed Winchester to tap in their second.
Good stuff still. Well done. And then, very simply, whoever shot this, they've shot it absolutely right. So after the goal, you're going in for the celebration here and you get the team together and you can use that as your edit point. So well done, whoever shot it. Don't know if there's a flash frame in there. Just check that edit.
In the second half, Bentley was brought down by goalkeeper Stuart Williamson, who had already been given a talking to by the ref. Receiving a red card, defender Luke Amsel was forced to go in goal.
I think it might be sent off, actually, on your caption.
Amazingly, the defender saved the penalty.
That is brilliant. I don't know why that's not in our headlines. That because you've got a bloke who comes on and makes a brilliant save, I think that should be a headline.
Jeff Dunn came on for Adam Roberts and added additional energy to the game. Getting the ball to Warren Bentley, his fake shot tricked the keeper, allowing him to score his second and Winchester's third.
Okay, the cutaway's good. Just be careful about what you're saying because you're beginning to say what you're seeing, and we don't do that, we add to what we see.
Leamington failed to find their feet all game. With Winchester keeping the pressure on, Zach Glasspool was able to launch a left-footed strike from
I can see it's left-footed and I can see it's outside the box.
ending the game 4-0 and putting them third in the league. Winchester's promotion fight is still on. Mark Betts, Winchester News Online.
That's a really good report though, Mark. I mean, so much of it is good and nicely put together, so you should be really pleased with what you've done there.
Unfortunately, there was no match for Basingstoke Town on Tuesday night, as their game with Weston-super-Mare was called off. The club confirmed early afternoon on Twitter that the clash at the Soccer Stadium had been postponed due to a frozen pitch.
All right, we can throw that away. Yeah, don't need that. It was called off because of a frozen pitch.
This means that Basingstoke missed the chance to go second in the Conference South, but do have 3 games in hand over leaders Boreham Wood, who are 9 points ahead. Winchester City's Tuesday night fixture against Gosport Borough did go ahead, but despite a battling performance, Paul Masters' men were beaten 5-2 in a Hampshire Senior Cup quarter-final by the team 3 leagues above them.
Any reason why we haven't got this? We've just seen them, and why this one wasn't covered?
Speaking to Winol.
This is radio. That's the trouble, Ross. This is radio. The lads. It sounds dreadful when you do it, and you've got no graphic covering what you're doing at all. So, and this is a real problem. I don't need to listen to it because you're telling me a quote. We need a shot of Paul Marston. We need something to cover this, but we don't need it. Let's do a radio interview. Let's do a phono. Do something, but don't do this. This is not right.
Winchester Rugby Football Club trounced Case Southwest League match, making it 10 league wins in a row.
Where's the graphic for this? This is radio still.
The results leaves Winchester second in the table.
Let's see the table.
4 points, just 6 points off of leaders Totonians. They now travel to third place London Cornish, who are just 2 points behind Winchester.
And I don't know if you put it on in post-production, but all I've done is followed a link on a Twitter page to go to this bulletin, and this is the bulletin that is up. So it needs to be covered with a graphic.
And that's all from sports. Back to the studio.
BBC Radio 1's DJ and festival director Rob DeBank has launched a new festival that has been accepted by Southampton City Council. Our arts and entertainment correspondent Ryan McAndrew has the story. Now,
and what's this edit? This is up live, okay? So there's no, where's the story? And then suddenly we get another link.
At our features.
This is where people go. People link on this to go and see it. How has this not been seen by people who have put this through. This has got to be checked and double checked. We've got a naff mess at the end.
The coordinators of the music event Festival are bringing a metropolitan festival to Southampton. Held on Southampton Common, the 2-day event in May will see both live music and DJ acts performing. Many local residents who use the Common see no objections.
Well, it brings a lot of excitement, a lot of entertainment, everything for every age group. I think it's good. I think it'd be nice to have another big event here.
We have no problem with that as long as it's well organised. I don't expect there to be any problems.
With 30,000 people set to attend the event, both organisers and the council are working together to ensure the safety of festival goers.
We have done a deal where we take a tiny percentage of each ticket sold, which we'll reinvest in other facilities in the city. We hope to sign a long-term deal with Festival to bring this show back every year for the next 5 years, but we'll wait and see how this first one goes.
It may not look like it now, but in a few months' time, hopefully the Common will become the destination of an award-winning festival. Ryan McAndrew, Winchester News Online, Southampton.
Good, well done, Ryan. You know, this is nicely framed as well. I quite like it there. I mean, usually we're centre frame, but I think because you've got all that there, I think we need a little bit more to it. But again, that's a good local story, and well done for telling that story.
That's all for Winol this week. But for more award-winning news, sports, and features, head over to winol.co.uk. Goodbye.
Well done, everyone. That's not too bad. As I've said, I've picked out various points of it, but ultimately you've done a pretty good job, and some of the reporting could be really good this semester. I will keep you up to date, and I hope to see you very soon.